Esto es la Volvo Ocean Race, la historia de 45 años de obsesión, la mítica regata alrededor del mundo y el reto definitivo de navegación a vela por equipos. El lugar donde el deporte de élite se une con la aventura humana. Alzarse con la victoria supondrá haber dominado una regata de 45.000 millas náuticas a lo largo de 11 etapas entre 12 puertos de 6 continentes. 7 equipos internacionales están intentando añadir su nombre al trofeo Volvo Ocean Race. La regata está siendo muy dura, desde condiciones extremas por el Océano Sur hasta ausencia total de viento, una combinación que ha llevado a los regatistas a sus límites físicos y mentales. De cara a la próxima etapa, el español Mapfre conserva su posición al frente de la provisional, aunque su archirrival Dongfeng Racing acecha ahora a solo 4 puntos del líder. Hong Kong supuso el final de la etapa 4 y desde allí la regata puso rumbo a Guangzhou, una parada que supuso la cuarta visita de la Volvo Ocean Race a China en los últimos 10 años. Tras disputar la regata costera, la flota puso rumbo de vuelta a Hong Kong antes de la salida de la siguiente etapa, que llevaría a los equipos a regresar por las mismas aguas por las que navegaron en la etapa 4. Pero esta demostraría ser una regata muy diferente.
D's only 9 miles behind us.
The nightmare is over my shoulder where we've got Dongfeng and Mapfre breathing down our neck.
We've got Mapfre right here.
They're not far away.
Can't believe Dongfeng and Mapfre there. No justice in that.
Auckland, en Nueva Zelanda, espera a la flota, pero llegar allí no será fácil.
Well, Lexi is going to take us from here, from Hong Kong to Auckland, and it's pretty much the reverse of what we have done from Australia.
I guess the weather will be different, trade winds will be a little bit different, but it's going to be a more tighter angle leg.
Could be quite rough. I wouldn't be surprised if we could see some pretty strong winds.
The next leg is, for me, the most difficult, complicated and dangerous leg, I would say. If the doldrum is so big like it was on the previous leg, that's going to be a nightmare at the navigation table.
Psychologically, it's a tough leg. We saw how hard this area is to sail to get here. The Luzon Straits with monsoon winds, it's normally big upwind conditions, and none of the boats have done a lot of upwind sailing, so it'd be interesting.
El Vestas 11 Racing anunció que se perdería la etapa 6 después de la trágica colisión con un barco ajeno a la regata en el tramo final de la etapa 4, un accidente que provocó el fallecimiento de un pescador local.
The whole world turned upside down in a second. I mean, here we are trying to plan our last sail change to sail the last hour and a half of what had been a 19-day leg to the finish, cash in on another podium finish, and all of a sudden you're in a whole new reality, right? You get off the boat and you look at this massive hole and you can only imagine, what happened or what the situation is with the other vessel and their crew and all their families, and that's where my head just continues to be at, even to this day. I know how difficult it's been for me and for our guys. I can only imagine how hard it's been for them.
El equipo ya se había perdido a la etapa hasta Guangzhou y su barco había sido enviado a Auckland para reparar con la esperanza de estar en la línea de salida de la etapa a Itajaí, en Brasil. Para esclarecer el incidente, la organización de la Volvo Ocean Race contrató un equipo de investigación independiente. El objetivo es reducir en lo sucesivo los riesgos asociados a este tipo de situaciones.
The team, which consists of Rear Admiral Chris Oxenberg, highly respected navigator Stan Honey and Chuck Cordy, will look at all aspects of this and any learning points that we can share with the wider sailing community in regards to racing high-speed craft at night in densely populated waters.
A medida que los otros 6 equipos abandonaban sus amarres en Hong Kong, había muchas evidencias sobre lo que les esperaba en la etapa, pero en la Volvo Ocean Race nada puede darse por seguro.
Max pressure and 10.
Here we go, the start of leg 6 from Hong Kong to Auckland, New Zealand.
Deploy the mo, guys. Go.
Sonderhund Kai Scallywag, great start, as with Axo Nobel.
Okay, let's go. Come on, bro. Down.
So it's goodbye from the bustling Chinese cities of Hong Kong and Guangzhou as we look forward to arriving in the famous Southern Hemisphere Mecca, the city of sails, Auckland, New Zealand.
La etapa 6 es una regata de 6.100 millas náuticas que llevará a la flota a atravesar el mar de China, el norte de Filipinas, salir al Océano Sur, cruzar los doldrums por tercera vez en lo que llevamos de regata y por fin hacia el sureste, dirección a Auckland. Antes de la salida, los oficiales de regata añadieron una zona de exclusión de tormentas tropicales al este de Filipinas por la previsión de un ciclón que anunciaba duras condiciones de mar. La flota ponía rumbo noreste por encima de esta zona en una carrera de pura velocidad.
It's been quite hard for everybody, having had quite a long break in Hong Kong to come back. But those guys that have had a leg off as a break have come back full of energy, which is great, and we really need that injection. But some people have found these conditions a little harder to cope with.
Tras rodear el extremo sur de Taiwán, la flota se separaba. Sun Junkai, Scallywag y Tim AkzoNobel optaban por ganar norte. Sus 4 rivales seguían juntos y navegaban una ruta más al este antes de virar. Tim Brunel, que se había puesto al frente apenas unas horas después de la salida, parecía mantener su buena racha.
I think just the whole feeling was really good in Hong Kong and in Guangzhou, just the way how we've been sailing the boat. Of course, a guy like Peter Burling, he wants to be home first like we all want to be, but feels good on board.
Apenas 72 horas después de la salida ya se había formado una brecha de más de 100 millas entre los dos grupos. Parecía que poner rumbo norte no había sido tan buena jugada y que los que la eligieron sufrían navegando con menos viento.
This feels wrong. Very wrong. We're going the wrong way. We should be going that way.
Really disappointed. We took the decision a bit quickly to tack, everything lined up and it looked quite good. So they were gone in the first 4 and it's just us 2 left racing really.
A bordo del Sun Junkai y Scallywag seguían con su plan.
So ultimately this is long term, trying to hook into that northerly breeze more than anything. So in theory we'll get into that first and then be able to be in a position to use the pressure there to come bows down back at the fleet.
Más al sur, Tim Brunel había sucumbido a la presión de sus perseguidores. El implacable Mafre, líder de la provisional de la regata, se había colocado al frente y apuntaba directamente a Auckland. Tom Von Race Team imitaba cada movimiento de su rival.
We just overtook one to each other a couple of times, and right now less than a mile between us. There's a lot to go, so hopefully we can keep it together and try to take our opportunities.
Sun Junkai, Scallywag y Tim AkzoNobel seguían separados de los 4 barcos de cabeza y parecían contentos haciendo su propia regata. Supieron mantener la calma y rápidamente empezaron a ganar terreno. Más al este, los 4 líderes iban quedándose sin viento uno a uno. En cuestión de horas, iba a cambiarles la suerte a todos.
We have just absolutely smashed them. All these other guys do the Fugazi and they listen to the computer and we sort of point to where we want to go and it seems to be working quite nicely. That's the wrap up.
Fingers crossed we can still keep on gaining, but there's still ages left in this race, so we're not getting ahead of ourselves.
Solo 5 millas por detrás de Scallywag, Tim AkzoNobel parecía estar en forma. La tripulación de Simon Timpont iba muy concentrada y confiada en sus prestaciones. Timpont había elegido una combinación de veteranos de la Volvo Ocean Race y un puñado de novatos, incluyendo a Cécile Laguet, la promesa del circuito oceánico de 31 años de edad.
Because I'd been involved with Team SCI a lot in the last campaign, I didn't feel like I was stepping in a brand new world. However, it was the first time I was properly doing a leg of the race. The leg from Melbourne to Hong Kong was my first leg, and for me it was the longest I'd spent offshore and the longest sort of distance I'd sail in one go. You know, you got to keep the intensity for those 20 days, and I think that's the massive challenging part in this race, is that there's so many parameters to be able to keep that intensity really high and perform, and I think that's super interesting.
Los 4 barcos perseguidores peleaban entre ellos para intentar volver a la batalla en difíciles condiciones, por momentos separados por apenas una eslora. Los 2 barcos rojos seguían marcándose en cada movimiento. Al frente del grupo se repetía la misma historia con una incesante alternancia en la cabeza entre Tim AkzoNobel y Scallywag.
It's fantastic to lead. It's always better to lead than to follow. And it also comes with its challenges, of course, you know. I mean, it's a long way and just have to have confidence in what we do and sail the boat.
A medida que la flota avanzaba hacia el Ecuador, se adentraba en una zona de vientos flojos y empezaba a confirmarse en el inicio de los temidos doldrums. El grupo perseguidor ganaba distancia y las posiciones cambiarían por horas en las siguientes jornadas, en las que surgían ganadores y perdedores con cada variación del viento y con la lotería de las nubes.
The rest of the fleet are literally hundreds of miles behind. Still more than half the points available. I think it's probably a little bit early days for the two red boats to think no one else in the race has got a chance. But time will tell.
Really complicated. Not at a good position. I think we should be more east, but we follow Mapfre, and for the first time, he make a really bad choice, I think.
Last day's been pretty challenging. We've been stuck in no wind at times, and a lot of the other boats have come past us with pressure. So I'm pretty sure we're at the back of the fleet now.
Entretanto, a más de 3.000 millas y en dique seco, el Vestas 11 Hour Racing libraba su propia batalla para estar listo de cara a la salida de la etapa 7. El barco había llegado a Auckland y se encontraba en pleno proceso de reparación. Para la tripulación era un lento proceso de curación.
It's been an emotional process and quite a bit of mourning and just just learning to live with what's happened and what's transpired, and this is going to be something that we're gonna live with, and that we're gonna have to learn to live with. And it's really important to me and to the team that we get back out there and we get back to racing and that we put our best foot forward. But at the same time, that doesn't take anything away from what has happened, and the fact that our thoughts continue to be with all those impacted and their families, and I think that'll continue to be the case.
Tras cerca de 2 semanas en el mar, la flota de la Volvo Ocean Race se encontraba ahora a miles de millas de tierra y centrada en 3 match races diferentes. Entre la cola y el frente del pelotón navegaban Tim Brunel y Charles Tidon Plastic. Parecía que Di Caffari y su joven equipo habían encontrado su punto de forma en esta etapa.
Glorious sunrise, and what really put the icing on the cake was Brunel right there on the horizon. It is crazy to sail 3,500 miles to then be sat side by side with our buddies, our Dutch buddies.
Más al oeste, Scallywag regresaba al liderato tras haber superado a Timac Sonoben.
We're a little uncomfortable last night going in a direction that we did to stay on top of Scallywag, and that cost us. Right, we're not doing anything at the moment. We're losing to him, we're not following our plan, and we're sailing slowly.
Mapfre y Dongfeng Race Team habían ido reduciendo lentamente su enorme desventaja para ganar terreno a los 4 barcos de delante. Se habían mantenido en su duelo particular durante toda la regata, pero la pregunta era ¿a qué precio?
We are officially last again. But they overtake us, we overtake them. They overtake us, we'll overtake them.
Algunos de los jóvenes regatistas de la Copa América, estar en cola del pelotón era algo a lo que no están acostumbrados, pero el solo hecho de formar parte de la Volvo Ocean Race por primera vez suponía todo un salto en sus carreras.
Yeah, I didn't manage to get much time off since America's Cup before this edition of the Volvo, but it's been something that I've definitely had no regrets. I think for this race, a lot of it was about learning as much as I could and just trying to soak up as much as I could. I definitely feel like I've been learning a lot and contributing a lot more to the team. The offshore sailing is relatively different to the inshore stuff. The inshore stuff, I think you can see a lot more what's going to happen, on the water, and it's probably a little more in control of your own destiny, where the offshore stuff, it seems like occasionally you get pretty unlucky or occasionally you get really lucky. So it's something you always make your own luck though, and we're just trying real hard to work on boat speed at the moment and just keep pushing down to NZ.
Toda la flota navegaba rumbo suroeste por encima de la cadena de islas de Vanuatu antes de rodear Nueva Caledonia y apuntar al sur en una carrera de velocidad. Pese a que Charles Tidon Plastic lograba mantenerse más de 2 días en cabeza, su alegría no duraría mucho. Timac Sonoben volvía a ponerse al frente. Tim Brunel, que había pasado a modo sigilo, había optado por mantenerse más cerca de Nueva Caledonia para ganar terreno. En cambio, emergían con malas noticias.
It was outside of what we expected. We thought we'd already be through the lee of the island and moving, and we weren't. So it's a very bad feeling.
It was quite obvious that we actually were falling off the pressure from the 3 leading boats. Of course, you're always stressed out because what do the other boats have? And you just know they have race, so they just keep sailing away. Y
las cosas no hacían más que empeorar para ellos cuando lenta pero irremediablemente Mapfre y Dongfeng Race Team fueron ganando terreno frente al equipo holandés a medida que enfilaban hacia Cabo Reinga en el extremo norte de Nueva Zelanda. Los 3 barcos ya empezaban a navegar por la costa este de Nueva Zelanda en una pelea de perros. En toda la flota había kiwis navegando rumbo a casa y era el momento para la reflexión.
I haven't been home for over a year preparing for this race, so to be able to see friends and family on the dock, it's going to be special.
Looking forward to seeing land and getting home. It's going to be good.
Anytime you sail into New Zealand, into your home port, is pretty awesome, but to be able to do it in the Volvo Ocean Race is just a dream come true.
Desde la salida de la regata en 1973 han participado más de 350 regatistas neozelandeses, incluyendo leyendas como Grant Dalton, Mike Sanderson, Stuart Bannatyne o Brad Jackson, pero hay un kiwi que es sinónimo de la regata, Sir Peter Blake. En la Whitbread Around the World 1989-90, Blake fue el único patrón capaz de ganar todas las etapas, un récord que nadie ha igualado hasta la fecha. Se convirtió en héroe nacional, pero fue trágicamente asesinado por piratas en 2001, mientras participaba en un viaje medioambiental por Sudamérica. Su muerte conmocionó a una nación y a todo el mundo náutico, pero su legado permanece vivo. Su hijo James forma parte del equipo de reporteros a bordo que cubren esta edición de la regata.
So I was 3 when Steinroger came in, and I've got a very vague memory of standing by the wheel, but I was 3, so I can't remember that much. And I remember that teddy bear of Winnie the Pooh. But what was funny about that bear is when he used to press his paw, he used to sing Winnie the Pooh. And I actually just found that the other day in a container of storage, and 28 years on, he still plays that little song, which actually is quite moving for me. I am the son of Sir Peter Blake, and that's something that I love, you know. He's what a legend, what a hero, and you know, that's something I've grown up with, and so I'm proud of it. I was quite young when my father died, and so one of the things that I learned from him from a young age was that he was always saying, you know, you've got to do what you want to do and what you love doing. You know, for me, taking that ethos away is key for me, and that's something that that's something I definitely learned from him. For me, the really special thing about the Volvo Ocean Race is when you kind of strip everything apart, you have these men and women out at sea working together, and I think that's something that hasn't changed since my dad's era. A lot of things have changed, whether it be the sponsorship, the corporate side, but actually when you get out on the ocean, you know, nothing has actually changed. They're still working together. It's still just as tough. It's one of the biggest challenges you can do for a sailor. I do think about him out at sea, and I think being out there actually, in some kind of way, for me, I get to know him a little bit better. You know, there's something out there that he loves, and for me to go and experience that in a small way is refreshing for me, and you know, could see what he was doing basically.
Tras más de 6.000 millas, Team AkzoNobel y Sun Hunkai Scallywag mantenían su particular match race bajando a la costa de Nueva Zelanda, pero pronto se verían perjudicados por un sistema de alta presión.
Guys, in the bow, downstairs. Just get them all to come and get right on the bow now.
The pressure up the weather, really good. Being with us.
Want to keep working him a little bit upwind.
On the trim there, he's still going forward a little bit on us there. Just got to wait for the right opportunity. Patient. Patience.
We just picked up a little bit of breeze, which is nice, because it could be a close party, you know.
A medida que la intensidad del viento disminuía, la flota se comprimía. Y ya no era solo Charles de Tidon Plastic el que suponía una amenaza para los dos líderes. Tras superar a Tim Brunel y tener una desventaja aparentemente insalvable solo 24 horas antes, los potentes Mapfre y Dongfeng Race Team avanzaban a toda marcha.
We are offshore with Mapfre and fighting together again. I don't know who is the mouse, who is the cat.
A bordo del Mapfre, el regatista local Blair Tuke recibía el apoyo de sus amigos a medida que se acercaban a la costa.
Yeah, just now we managed to see the race leaders in front. They obviously had quite a light air time for a bit. It's pretty close, so everything is on.
Where are they? There.
Yeah.
They are not far away.
Like we're going good on Akzo here.
can't believe Dongfeng and Medfrey are there. There's no justice in that.
Tim Brunel, líder al principio de la etapa, seguía muy atrás y sin aparentes opciones de recuperación a estas alturas del partido. Los 5 primeros barcos estaban ahora separados por menos de 7 millas. Charles Taydon Plastic, el tercer clasificado, notaba la presión.
The nightmare is over my shoulder where we've got Dongfeng and Medfrey now breathing down our necks. From being 120 miles behind, they've just caught up the weather's played to their advantage. For me, it's all about getting the result we deserve and the result that we deserve from the whole leg. And if it goes the wrong way, I'll be absolutely gutted.
Con la caída del sol, la presión iba en aumento, pero para Team AkzoNobel y Sun Junkai Scallywag, la ventaja era ya suficiente para mantenerse al frente a medida que se aproximaban a la línea de meta.
Just right at the tower. They're looking pretty soft. They bolt up right down there.
El margen entre el primero y el segundo era de 2 minutos. La pareja había permanecido pegada durante toda la regata, pero al final era el barco holandés de Simon Timpont el que se anotaba la que iba a ser su primera victoria de etapa.
It was unbelievable. It was I think close to a 6,500 mile or 7,000 mile match race, and then even this morning, you know, we had a couple of lead changes, and yeah, unbelievable crew work. I'm unbelievable proud of the crew, and they did such a fantastic job, and we managed just be 1.5 mile in front and finish the leg.
We never give up, we're still trying right to the end. So, you know, we had a couple of opportunities that we didn't take, and, you know, hats off to AkzoNobel. They sailed really, really well. We put as much pressure as we could on for 3 weeks, and they stood strong, so they deserved the win.
A falta de menos de 2 horas para la línea de llegada, Charles Taydon Plastic sufría lo indecible. El español Mafre le arrebataba la posición de podio delante de sus propias narices, e incluso tras una larga batalla con Dongfeng Racing en la entrada al puerto de Auckland, cedía la 4ª posición por minutos. Un trago amargo.
Been fighting, of course, with Dongfeng like crazy. You know, that's the war. We never stop, and we fought so hard that now we feel very happy, of course.
Sorry for Turn the Tide because they did a fantastic race and I think they deserve the 3rd place, but that's silly.
Los 5 primeros equipos habían terminado separados por media hora. Había sido una regata enormemente estresante e intensa. Un final de etapa sin precedentes. La única consolación para Charles Taydon Plastic es que mostraron al resto de equipos que habían madurado para ser una fuerza a tener en cuenta y consiguieron su mejor resultado frente al último clasificado, Tim Brunel.
We're pretty gutted, and you can tell by the fact that nobody stood along the deck. I don't actually even know what to say. Gutted. We had a good race, and we thought we were going to have a better result, but those pesky red boats always seem to get it their way.
Tras la victoria de Team AkzoNobel y la 2ª posición de podio consecutiva de Sun Junkai Scallywag, la clasificación provisional ha sufrido una interesante sacudida. Ambos ascienden a la 4ª y 3ª posición respectivamente, por detrás del líder Mafre y Dongfeng Racing. La vieja guardia debería preocuparse con la doble puntuación que ofrece la etapa 7. Próxima parada, Itajaí, en Brasil, una de las etapas más emblemáticas de toda la regata. Incluirá una nueva ración del tortuoso Océano Sur y el paso por el temido Cabo de Hornos, antes de subir la costa de Sudamérica hasta la meta.